everyone, my name is Chloe, and today I'm here with part 2 of the Try a Chapter, Get Books Off My Shelf project that I'm working on. So if you have not seen part 1, I have a shelf upstairs that is all unread books that I cannot get a copy digitally in any way, shape, or form. I can't get an ebook, I can't get an audiobook, unless I'm like going to buy it. I'm talking about from my free resources. So Libby, Hoopla, Kindle Unlimited. If you can hear my kids screaming in the background, sorry. But so I can't get a free copy digitally, and so I am going to read them physically. Well, so with my physical books, with my physical reading, really, I am a lot slower, and so I'm a little more cutthroat about what I keep and what I don't. And so I went through the top shelf in the video that I'll have linked down below. And now it's time for shelf number 2. So I will cut to the books on the shelf, and we'll just get into it. Here is shelf number 2. So shelf number 1, still doing good. I did not move them up yet, so I could finish this or continue with this project. There's 3 shelves of fiction. So here is this shelf, and it is full. However, I am not going to read these 3 because this is number 3, 4, and 5 in a series. And this is obviously number 3 in a series. So I know I'm going to keep those. So I'm going to pull those out and not read those. But otherwise, and like this is the Yada Yada Prayer Group, number 1. And then I don't know if this is number 2 or what. I'll read the first. So, got a lot of options here. How will it go? I don't know. Hey everyone, so I have an update. Last night, Jeremy had something out of the house, and so I was on my own for bedtime. And if you guys have little kids, you know that bedtime can be a little bit of a mess. And so I thought, hey, I'm going to be fun mom. And the big girls, my 5-year-old and almost 3-year-old, are going to, I got them sleeping bags that they did not know about yet because they've been really into sleeping bags for some reason. So got them sleeping bags, put them on my floor, and so we're going to have movie night and whatever. We had a really long day yesterday because my sister and her son and my mom came up for the day to watch the kids while I was going to the dentist and other place. I had a meeting that I had to go to for my daughter's speech, and so I had a busy day. They had a busy day. I thought we would all be super tired. We would watch a movie, they would fall asleep, it would be bliss. That's how it went in my head. How it actually went, I should have seen it coming because my almost 3-year-old can't sit through even a show, let alone a movie. She has really very little interest in TV, which is great because she's got other interests and she's not like a kid that'll go zombie in front of the TV. But it's not great because it blew up in my face hard. She was everywhere. And so then I tried to let it didn't work out. But in the brief time that it did work out, I brought some books, and laid with them watching the movie, and I read some books while they watched the movie. Because, side note, if you haven't heard of Common Sense Media, it is a website that rates all kid content basically, and it gives like all sorts of information about how, like, if there's any language, if there's any violence, if there's anything. And so we watched this movie called Luck on Apple TV. And it had because my kids are very sensitive kids, so they get scared about a lot of things. And so this one had almost no scare. It told me all about it. So I didn't feel the need to pre-watch or anything. It's a kids movie made for 5-year-olds. But anyway, so I was able to kind of read and half watch because I already kind of knew what the moral of the story was. Anyway, so I read some books and I have some thoughts. So let's just get into it. So the first one I read was this one, The Sunflower Forest by Tori Hayden. So this one is big. And as with all of these, I cannot get a digital copy at all. I can't even, if I were to buy the Kindle version, there's not even a Kindle version. So my only option is to read this chunker. Now, I think the premise is it's about this young, teenage girl and her mom, and she's figuring out, I think her mom was a part of World War II, and her mom has some secrets, and now they're kind of expressing in depressive episodes and things like that. And I think that's what this story is going to be about. Now, in the first chapter, we get quite a bit. It's almost a 20-page first chapter, and not much happened. Like, I'm still intrigued enough, but this definitely didn't hook me. So like, I could really go either way on this. And because it is so big, that I don't know, like, I'm gonna keep it and I'm gonna give it more. I don't feel like the first chapter was enough for me to like conclusively decide this is not for me. And so my FOMO is gonna say I'm gonna keep it. It was definitely a slower paced first chapter, but we're also meeting the characters and kind of setting the scene. So maybe that's okay. I don't know. My sister was up here yesterday and she said she wants this when I'm done with it. And so, I mean, if it's good, I guess. So even if I DNF it, maybe she'll do it, or maybe I'll give it to her to guinea pig first. I'm not in a huge rush to read this, but I'm going to keep it. Anyway, so, okay there. Then we've got, The Spy's Wife by Reginald Hill. And this one is about a woman who her husband, like goes off to work or something and then quickly comes home, grabs a suitcase and is like gone. And we don't know why. And then, police or whatever, I think it's in the UK somewhere, come to her door and say her husband's a spy. Now, again, the writing style on this is a little bit flowery for me. Just, I mean, not bad, but the chapters are really short. In fact, I read the first 2 because the first one was like 3 or 4 pages. And the way this is set up, it's such a fast read. Like, the top and bottom margins are huge. It really will read super fast. And I think it's less than 300 pages anyway. And so, yeah, I'm intrigued enough to commit to this. And so, I'm going to give it more of a shot. Again, though, one that I really could go either way. I would not buy this if I saw it in a store now. But the fact that I have it, I'm going to give it a shot. Then the next 2 that I read are both Mary Higgins Clark. So this one is super duper tiny. And I don't know if this is like part of a series or not. I think it is. But I think you can read it however. It's called Silent Night. And this one is about a mother. Her husband he's a doctor and he's just been diagnosed with leukemia. And so he's in the hospital and she decides to take her young sons to New York City for Christmas to see the Rockefeller tree. They must live close to there because to see the Rockefeller tree and just to experience New York at Christmas. I've never been, and I've been in like November. So I guess I kind of have. But I want to experience that. I feel like we went kind of early November, and it was when I was pregnant. I was like with my daughter who's born in January. So I was big pregnant. So it was a little different. But anyway, so she takes them to experience the magic just to kind of get their mind off their dad being in the hospital and kind of critical. And so there's that. And she, the son wants to give the dad like a medal that their grandpa had won in the war, and it's in her mom's wallet, and his mom's wallet, and the mom drops the wallet. So then we get another perspective of the person who finds the wallet, and she has done time in jail for helping her criminal brother. And so she doesn't want to, like, she's got some experience with theft in the past that makes her not want to give the wallet back like right away. So she plans to mail it back later. So we're kind of getting those 2 stories. Obviously, those paths are going to combine. I don't know if this is going to, like, I don't think this is a thriller, even though she's like the queen of suspense. I don't think this is a thriller. I think it's just a feel-good Christmas story, and it's so short. And this one, I think, is the one that I was probably the most interested in. So there's that. Somebody suggested on my book haul revisit that I do a Christmas in July, because there's one of those that I had not read, and I might do that, or I might do a Christmas in May, because I actually am really intrigued to read this. And then the last one that I read last night was A Stranger is Watching. And so this one is interesting, very interesting. Actually, I am intrigued by this one too. This one is about, in the first chapter, it has a conversation around the death penalty and it being reinstituted. And so there is, we're getting the perspective of a man who is in a hotel watching, like the Today Show. And there's one person who is, like very against the death penalty and one person who is very for it. And there is a serial killer a 19-year-old serial killer, about to be put to death. He committed crimes when he was 17, and now these two people are kind of debating on the Today Show if they think it is a good thing or not. And all the while, this man is watching, and I am assuming he's the actual serial killer, and the person that did it is not the right person, or the person that is being like convicted is not the right person. So this one's really interesting. I think based on the premise, yeah, and he's going to go after the one who is against the death penalty. So yeah, we'll see. So I think that's what's going on here, and this one sounds really intriguing too. So I have one more Mary Higgins Clark, and so I'll let you know when I read that. And I love her, and sometimes her books are kind of flops for me, but I'm always so intrigued. And she's got that like OG writing style that just keeps you reading, and so I'm excited to read this one too. Yeah. I will let you know how the next one goes, and hopefully, so now we are about to go to soccer, and it is, and my 3-year-old is in a Mommy and Me, and my 5-year-old is by herself, and last week was the first week, and my almost 3-year-old wanted me to do it with her, and so I did, but then my 5-year-old had hurt feelings because I wasn't able to watch her, so now we're switching. So my husband will be with my almost 3-year-old, and I'll just get to watch my 5-year-old. And so I might try to take a book. It kind of depends, because I'll have the baby too. So I might try to take a couple books. I also did, just like last time, I don't know if I told you guys that I did this, but you can get a free sample of Kindle books through Amazon. You just say download free sample, and that's always so far been enough for the first chapter. So I downloaded a few free samples because I don't know that I'll be able to like hold a book, but I think I can read on my phone. So I don't like doing that, but I might do it. Because soccer's long, and I'm exhausted, you guys. Long story short, the way last night ended up is everybody was in their own rooms, and nobody went to sleep until like 11, and then the baby woke up at 12, and she was up off and on until 4:30 when my alarm went off. So we are tired. There's lots of coffee being consumed today, and hopefully lots of reading to be done. So we'll see you after I read some more. Okay, everyone, so the stars aligned, and I was able to get quite a few first chapters read in soccer today. It was awesome. So let's talk about what I read. So let's see. The first one that I read was I Heard That Song Before by Mary Higgins Clark. So this one is this one's the least interesting of the 3 Mary Higgins Clarks, but this one, I'm not sure exactly what it's about. It's about this like old estate, and 22 years ago, our main character's dad was like the landscaper or something there, and he had to go back. For some reason, one night he felt the urge to go back, and she's 6 years old at the time. There's a party going on, whatever. I guess somebody died that night. Well, now it's 22 years later, and she is a librarian. She's very bookish, and I loved that bookishness. And she is wanting to approach the current owner of the house and have a library fundraising event at the estate. And so she's there, and for her second time in her life, and there's some resurgence about who killed the woman, and the late lord of the house, I don't know what the word is, the owner of the house is the suspect, and so we don't know what's going on. I think there's a romance between her and the owner of the house, and then maybe some of his stuff comes to light. I don't know. It was kind of it was a prologue and a chapter 1, and I was intrigued, but it was kind of a jumbled mess and like a little unclear about stuff. So I'm gonna keep this one, but I have the lowest hopes for this Mary Higgins Clark. So then we've got this one, Marshmallows for Breakfast, and this one has a very confusing tone. Like from the picture, it says, "Can a stranger save your life?" or something like that. And it's clearly a kid and a woman. And okay, so the prologue is about this woman. Somebody is calling her in a threatening way and saying like, "Hey, we've got to talk about our kid. I don't know if she's pregnant or what's going on," but he's very threatening to her. And so she's just clearly scared, but also has some guilt in the matter. And then chapter 1 starts, and she is renting a room or something from a man that has 2 young children, and the kids come to her door, and they're super sweet, but very, like kids, like no boundaries. And so I think it's her relationship with the man and his kids, but then like a secret from the past that maybe was that threatening person in the first part, I think is what that's about. The tone, like I said, is just really confusing. Like, it seems kind of sweet, but there's like a sinister bit. So I don't know what this is going to be. I'm intrigued enough. Next is By the Time You Read This by Lola J. So this one, I knew, like, I've known that I've heard the name Lola J, and the Attic Child or something, it was really, really well known, really popular, I guess, by her. This is one of her older ones, and this is about a 17, 18-year-old girl whose mom is getting married for the umpteenth time, and she gets her aunt, her dad's sister, comes to the wedding and says, like, hey, I've got a letter from your dad. And her dad died when she was like 6 years old. So I don't know what this is about. Again, kind of a confusing tone. I'm not sure. And intrigued enough. Like, I feel like that's the moral of this vlog, is just intrigued enough. Which, is that my mood right now? Is it truly these books that are all kind of hard to tell? Am I just having FOMO? Am I having, like, all right, don't mind me dropping my phone in the middle of my existential crisis, and now the lighting's all weird. I don't know what's going on. But last one is the Yada Yada Prayer Group. This is book 1. The prologue was about a woman picking up a beggar, and trying to take her to help her, because that's the Christian thing to do. Like, God says to help the least of these. And so she picks her up, and then she disappears. And then cut forward like 20 years, 10 years, 15 years. I don't know. I can't remember exactly how much. And it's another woman and her husband going to this all-black church. Despite being white people, they are trying to kind of like help where they can in inner city churches and stuff. And I don't know, she goes to a women's church conference with her boss. She's a 3rd grade teacher, and so she goes with the principal and another lady. They're all roomed together, and so I think there's going to be some conversation there. I don't really know. I know this is like a multi-book series, and so far we've got 3 people in the Yada Yada Prayer Group. I'm guessing, based on the picture, that there's 5, so I'm guessing we'll meet some more women. And yeah, so I'm intrigued enough. Okay, so that is everything that I've read so far. And so far, like, no unhauls, because everything's just fine. And, like, not necessarily that I think I'm going to rate them all 3 stars, but just that I can't tell what I think about them. And, like, they're all fine. They're all good. Like, I would read them all, and they all have similar levels of interest. And so, yeah, I guess we'll just see how it goes. I've got a few more, so I'll update. Now I'm going to go inside and take care of some things and try to read a little bit while I do, and see if I can get a couple more knocked out today. And so we'll see when I see you. Hi, everyone. So I'm here with just a quick update because I only read one, Not Without My Sister. And this one also had a prologue and a first chapter. So I feel like I'm reading like a lot lately. But this one is interesting. It's about 2 sisters that have quite a big age gap. And the prologue is told, let's see what year it is, 1944 in Germany. And they are Jewish people. And so then 6 months earlier, chapter 1 goes back 6 months earlier. So in 1944, the present time, they are taken to a concentration camp and they are split up. And then we see kind of what life was like right before this happened. So sounds really intriguing. The writing style was a little hard for me to get into, but this plot sounds so good. And I have a sister that I'm pretty close to. I have 2 sisters that I'm pretty close to now that we're all adults. My sister is 9 years older, so this age gap is something that I can definitely relate to. And there's definitely been stages in life where she's very like mothering to me in a way that I feel this kind of dynamic is similar. And so I'm really intrigued. Like the plot is something that I think kind of regardless of writing style I would have kept. So that's my thoughts on this. I'll check in. Today is Sunday, and today is like, I'm just trying to get stuff done. Like we had a full day of soccer and all that yesterday, and so today I'm trying to get stuff done. So I'm hoping I'll get some reading in, but if so, it probably won't be till this afternoon or evening. So I'll check in at some point and let you know what I think. Okay, we've made a wee bit of progress. I just went to, we had a grocery pickup, and it is like gonna be like 90 here today, and it's like 80 right now, I think. And the big girls and my husband have been outside doing yard work, so I read this while I was waiting for our drinks at Sonic. And this is Girls in Trouble by Caroline Leavitt, maybe. And this one is the first one that I'm like, whoa, I need to read that. The first chapter throws you in immediately. There's a 16-year-old girl in labor, and her mom and dad are taking her to the hospital. She is like just struggling. We know that there's like a lawyer involved, like an adoption lawyer, because I'm guessing the girl does not want to keep the baby. The girl she's a 16-year-old, and she's already getting talks about like Harvard, Columbia, that kind of stuff. And she has been subscribed to Psychology Today since she was 12 and just loves it. But like the life has gone out of her with this pregnancy. I don't know what happened or how she got in this situation. But she's going to the hospital to have the baby, and she gets there and she's like, where are so-and-so and so-and-so, which I'm guessing are the adoptive parents. And her parents are both, her parents are very like hush-hush. Like I'm guessing they maybe don't want the adoption to go through. I don't know. I'm making a lot of assumptions, and then she like, I don't know if she passes out or just like falls against her mom at the end of the chapter or what, but I'm so intrigued, and this read so quick. So I'm really excited to continue with this one. And yeah, that's all I've read so far, but now it is lunchtime. I'm going to make lunch and then maybe read one more before nap. And then I'm going to lay down with one of my kids, because I'm tired. It is Sunday. Sundays are made for naps. And so I'm going to lay down with her and then hopefully read a couple more after nap. There's not a ton on this shelf, so we're nearing the end, and these are some shorter chapters. This was 10 or so pages. So yeah, I'll check in soon. Hey everyone, so it's the next day, same hairstyle, but I am back next day, and I've got a couple updates. So I read the first chapter of In Real Life by Jessica Brody, and I read one other Jessica Brody and was kind of meh about it, and I kind of feel the same about this one. This is about a young teenage girl who has, her best friend is a guy that she is friends with like digitally. I guess her sister met his brother and said like, you guys should hang out. And so they live like 4 hours apart. So they are like online friends. And so I really like the discussion of that. He is in a band and she really wants to go see him play. And she's like 17. So her sister's like, just go. But she's not for some reason. And so like I like the discussion of online friendship. I'm assuming I can like guess the entire plot of this, but I'm going to keep it. So there's that. No unhauls yet, but now here we come to the unhauled portion. So we've got 2 things to unhaul. We've got To Love and Protect by Debbie McComber. So this is a bind up of Shadow Chasing and For All My Tomorrows, and both are like policeman romances, and that's just, it has no appeal to me. I don't like this bind up format, and so I am gonna get rid of that one for sure. I didn't try it. I have no desire to read this anymore. 2 stories about lawmen and the women they love. I am not in the era right now of liking just like not just generic romance. I don't want to like downplay this for anybody who loves this. This is just not my thing right now. And then with that comes like a Debbie McComber classic, which is Fallen Angel. Again, this is about like a Silver Spoon girl who then this guy, I don't know, I was bored reading the back and just have no interest, and so these ones are going. So 2 unhauls, and now we've got 3 more left. So I hope to do some reading today. I don't really know. It is so beautiful outside, like I can't. We're going to be outside all day, so I'm going to hope for it, but we'll see. So I will check in and let you know how the rest go. Hey everyone. So, I am just leaving the dentist. We have been, since we've moved to Kansas City, which has been almost 2 years, we have been dentist hopping because we cannot find one we like. And then my neighbor was like, oh, well, everybody in the neighborhood sees this one guy because he lives in the neighborhood and he's great. And so I just went there and it was like great. It was a really good, like efficient office. They were great. And so, yeah, 2 years later, we finally figured it out. But I forgot my sunglasses, and you guys know that is like a tragedy to me because I've heard the lighter color eyes you have, the more sensitive to sun you are, and I don't have especially light eyes, and yet my eyes, like, I feel like I cannot see if I don't have sunglasses. So whatever. That's not why you're here. I finished 2 more. So I finished The Usual Rules by Joyce Maynard. And this one I'm very meh about as well because this is, I guess, about a girl who her mother dies on September 11th. And so she has to go to California to live with her real dad. And it's like an exploration of grief. And then it says... she forges friendships with his cactus-growing girlfriend, a teenage mom, and a sad bookstore owner with an autistic son, and begins to develop the deep love and connection she has with her brother. Well, I got almost nothing from the first chapter. It's kind of exploring her and her mom's relationship. I'm going to keep it just because it sounds intriguing, but this one, I don't know. It's kind of chunky too, so I don't know about this one. This one... It was actually really good. This one's The 3 Mrs. Parkers. And so this one is about 3 generations, obviously, as you might guess. The oldest one, so she is going to live with her daughter-in-law because she is having health issues and needs some help. Well, the son has died like 25 years ago, and the mother and daughter-in-law don't get along. And so... that's going to be interesting. Well, then the granddaughter is an adult too, and she has a severely disabled child. I'm not sure. I can't remember if it says what, but yeah. And so let's see. For some reason, I think the child then dies, and so the daughter comes to live with them, and so it's 3 generations of women who maybe don't get along that well, but they're family, and so probably figuring that out. I don't know. This was very intriguing, and I really like this first chapter. So 2 more down, 1 to go. Today I'm by myself, which is lovely, but I'm about to go get the girls and go. 2 of my 3 kids have hearing and vision screenings for different reasons, so we're going to go do that, and then run errands, and then go home and try to enjoy the day. So maybe this afternoon I'll get some reading in, but I don't know. So I will check in hopefully later today and wrap this up. But so far my only unhauls are those Debbie's. So we'll see. Hey everyone, so I read the last and final. We just got home from piano lessons, and I read Between Here and April, and this one is really intriguing too, and it's got short chapters, so that's awesome. But this is about a husband and wife who they hint at having like some marital issues, but they have 2 little girls, and so it kind of sounded like just like the normal like annoyances. But our main character is feeling kind of feverish, feeling not well, and she's having like hallucinations of a childhood friend that she knew in 1st grade for like a couple months, and then the kid disappeared. And so she at the end blacks out after like hallucinating about this little girl. So it's really intriguing. I'm really excited to read this one. So that is everything. So the only ones I'm unhauling are the 2 Debbie McCombers. Otherwise, the rest is somewhat hum-ho, but some that I'm really excited about. So I know some of you are going to be like, just unhaul the hum-ho ones. And I might, but I just feel like 1 chapter was not enough to do it. So not quite as successful in clearing out my shelves, but good to know that I'm at least somewhat interested in all of them. So yeah. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.